Hey everybody, welcome to another 50 state speedrun. Today I got a time that I did not think was gonna happen anytime soon. My previous time, which was 30:09, was the world record before. I thought going into this run that it was gonna be hard to match that, let alone get sub half hour, but the unthinkable happened and I ended up with a 20 minutes and 52 seconds time, which is the new world record. I still can't really believe that this happened, but I'm gonna play back the video here and just sort of walk through my thought process for each round. I didn't record commentary playing it because I wanted to focus, so let's play it back here, and I hope you guys enjoy it. So, the first round kicked us off here in Texas, a repeat, and I think it just looked a lot like a Texan city, and there was an Amarillo. Round number 2, there were seals on the trash cans, I could not read them. I checked the license plate of the Ford, and it was Tennessee, so that's state number 2. Round number 3 put us next to some parked cars. There was a Kentucky plate. I wanted to check some more, just to make sure I wasn't going to guess the wrong state. Then we ended up with some Illinois plates as well. So majority ruled there. I went for Illinois, and it was right across the river. I think that round might have also been a repeat, which may have contributed to me choosing Illinois. We also had here Nebraska highway shield and license plate. Round 5 in a Gen 4 coverage location here. Went the opposite way of the Google car, looking for signs, and came across Kentucky's state highway shield. And those are the first 5 rounds, so we got those done in 55 seconds. As you can see on the splits up there, my first 2 games on the half-hour time were actually quite fast, but I was able to match that pace and then continue to get really fast times as we proceeded. That one we had a Florida license plate. This time we had, surprisingly, a bunch of Connecticut plates. I wasn't expecting this one to be there, but it was. As you see there, that's state 7. This time I checked that car's license plate. I couldn't really make out what it was, so I think I kept moving here. I guess I went the other way. But yeah, kept moving, looking for some other stuff. Definitely New England here, I think. Checked some more license plates once we switched coverage here. Still weren't good enough, so I kept on moving. This time we made it to some signage for some stuff, and then we ended up with 202, 4, and 5, so I was starting to think it was going to be Maine, so I just clicked on it and went for it, and it was. Round number 9 here was not looking good to start, so I just picked a direction and sort of followed it, hoping we'd come across some signs. These kinds of rounds are the absolute worst for this speedrun, because when you get them, there's usually not too many signs close by. So this was a tricky one to get. Passed by a construction site, couldn't make out any plates there, so I was waiting to pass some other cars to take a look. There's this red truck here, and thankfully there was an unblurred plate. Now here I spent a long time trying to decipher what the heck it said there. At first I thought it said Indiana, but there was no way this landscape corresponded to Indiana. So I was trying to think, what the heck is that? Oklahoma? Nebraska? One of the Dakotas? And I think eventually I settled on it being Nebraska, because of the landscape and just the lettering, and it was there. And then the 10th round here, we ended up next to some signs. This one I was a little confused on for a second. We had a circle state highway sign, and then townships. I think I eventually figured out it was New Jersey. Well, I must have. Yeah, I just went for it in the end, and that was the 10th state. Very far north there in New Jersey. So heading into the second or third seed, we're actually behind time a little bit, but I was able to turn that around. Couldn't make out the license plate on that one car there. Kept moving. Again, heading the opposite way of the Google car. Checked on this Chevy's license plate. Wasn't too sure, but there were no fronts on it, which was a good clue. And then I just kept on moving because I still wasn't sure what plate that was. I needed more info. And then eventually, how did I solve this one? I'm actually not too sure what happened here. I jumped off the main road there for a second, kept on going. And I think... Oh, that's right. This is the round. I made it to a location I'd actually been to before. The initial starting point was not a repeat, but that sign I had seen before, which was very interesting. The next round here, number 12. Again, this was going to be a license plate dependent one. Checked the cars, they were all Pennsylvania, so I was happy clicking there. Round 13, we're on State Highway 96. Now the question was, well, which state? So I left the junction there looking for a highway number, and we found it. We're in Colorado. And that's 13. Number 14 put us in the Appalachians. And I think there was a Department of Transportation sign there for Virginia, making that one a relatively fast one for a rural, mountainous one. This one we actually started in a blurry location, but we jumped back to the regular clear imagery. We had one Utah plate there, but I wasn't too convinced yet. I wanted to make sure at least get one more Utah plate from a car. So I checked this other sedan, and it also had a Utah plate. And so that was state number 15. So we picked back up a lead there. We're about a minute ahead now. This one I should have known right away. It was Hawaii, but I wasn't too confident yet. So here I could have saved a few seconds, but I did find the highway shield for Hawaii there in the end. The 16th round here, or 17th I guess, looked a lot like a desert states: Arizona, New Mexico, California, Nevada, something like that. License plates ended up mostly being Arizona, so I went for it. The next round here was pretty interesting. I couldn't really place a finger on what landscape this was, but that township sign was the same I had seen in New Jersey before. The plates, I couldn't really tell what they were, so I was kind of confused here. I wanted to find more information. I started going this way. I think I turned around in the end, because it wasn't looking promising. So I went back this way, past the township sign again. And I don't remember what exactly I saw. There was 130 there. And then this sign. I think I figured with the Gloucester County there, I think I figured it was just going to be New Jersey, especially with that sign being the same from the other New Jersey round. This time, I wasn't sure on the plate there. So I tried to leave this neighborhood, went out to this more major street. And then I think I looked at the trash can. There was one actually in a great viewing point. It said City of Frederick, which is a town in Maryland. So there we go. That was number 19. And then round 20, we had lots of palm trees. We had one Florida plate. So I think I checked a few more to make sure, and they were also Florida. So I went for it, and that was round 20. So getting close to the halfway point here, we picked up more of a lead there. This time, this looked very much like Florida, so I just went for it right away. Saved some time there for sure. This time, I checked the river sign, didn't have any good info on it. Decided to go this way, and we flew past the South Carolina highway shield there. I almost didn't register it in my head, but thankfully I did there. This time we had a banner right over the road, and it said olympiawashington.gov. So that was a nice and easy one for us. Round 4, another urban location. So I headed into the downtown section of town. This one was kind of confusing because I saw this public school that said El Dorado. Now there's a lot of towns, surprisingly, that have that name. There's one in Kansas, Texas, I think Oklahoma has one as well, so I wasn't too sure which one we were going to be in. I should have checked license plates thinking about it. Sooner anyway, but I also found U.S. highways, which seemed to line up with the Kansas one. We also had a state flag there, I didn't even notice that. But I think eventually I just checked on the Kansas one for those U.S. highways, and ended up going for it. So you can see El Dorado is... Oh, I checked Oklahoma too, but you can see El Dorado is just east of Wichita there. And that was number 24. Last round, this is the halfway point. I wasn't sure what that little sign was, so I checked on some car license plates. That one had a Nebraska one. I was pretty confident. Wanted to check one more just in case. So I checked this other car. That one had a Kansas plate, so I was kind of concerned. You know, it's a total toss-up at this point. One Kansas, one Nebraska. Which one to go with? So I looked at some other cars, hoping to find another license plate. And I believe that this silver car also had Nebraska, so I went for it. And that was our halfway point. So going into the second half of the run, you can see that this half took us a little bit longer. This round, I think, took me a decent bit of time, and there was one more round in this half that was very annoying. Could have had it solved a lot faster had I gone the other way, but you'll see that in just a bit here. This one looked a lot like Washington or Idaho, but I wasn't sure which of the two, so I just followed this road around east, trying to find some license plates or signs or something. As fast as I could, really. Because it's always these kind of rural locations out west that are a pain. The plains in the west. There was one Idaho plate there, so I tentatively clicked on Idaho. Wanted to check one more. Thankfully, there was a car right behind that other one. Also had an Idaho plate, so I was happy going for it. And it was right on the border there, too, so good thing. This time we had an interesting clue. That sign is unique to California. I only recently learned about that clue, but it paid off really big there. It didn't have to move at all. So that was fantastic. This round, another one in the plains. So I was checking license plates. I could not tell at all what that pickup truck was. So I decided to go back toward the start. We had one of those Pentagon County signs. There was a bridge there, wasn't sure what was really happening here. So I just kept on going south. And then there was this sign, I don't remember what this one was. Oh yeah, passing lane. This round also took a while. I kept on looking for a reliable license plate. Just so many of the cars passing by I either could not tell, or the car ended up being a truck, which I can never trust for license plates. So it was really just a matter of waiting for a good car to show up, or a reliable road sign. I think this was the one that had the North Dakota plate, or was it Wyoming? I actually couldn't decide. The landscape looked more like Wyoming, and I always tend to get those plates confused on GeoGuessr. I think here I was looking for one more plate or another sign, and eventually I just gave in and guessed Wyoming. It's a good thing I did that too, because I have the feeling that if I kept on moving, I probably wouldn't have found too much information otherwise. So making a final decision there and going for it definitely saved me some time. But this is another round that contributed pretty heavily to some time loss there. And it was Wyoming. Moving into round number 29, this one looked a lot like California. License plates seemed to check out. I just wanted to make 100% sure. So I checked the bus stop there, and it had a ad for Los Angeles. And the final round here, a beautiful New Mexico plate front and center for us, so that was a nice one, and that's round 30. So with 20 more states to go, we are at 12 minutes and 4 seconds. So things were looking good. At this point, I started to get pretty nervous because I knew I was making fantastic time, so I wanted to make sure I wasn't screwing things up. We had a bunch of plates that looked pretty much like Massachusetts. Also, Adams County is in Western Mass. But I just wanted to make 100% sure here, because it's always better to be safe than sorry when you're making such good time. So in the end, I saw enough evidence for Massachusetts there, went for it. Next one in some hills here. Checked on the license plates, they were not so great. So I kept on moving, looking for other clues. I'm not exactly sure what tipped me off on this one, but we went through a kind of small town here. Passing by some cars. I didn't actually think to look at license plates here. I'm not sure why I didn't. I probably figured they were just not going to be too good for evidence. But then this one actually was. I didn't check the parked cars, but the ones driving. Not sure my logic there, but it was Kentucky, and there we go. This one we had the Kansas highway shield there, so that was nice and easy. Round 34, we had the IDOT maintained road sign for Illinois. Kind of obscure clue there, but very helpful. And that was another nice and fast one. This one I almost started rocketing down the road, but I luckily caught one of the PennDOT markers for Pennsylvania. Another clue that I recently learned about. So that was another fast, good round. Next one, checked the car here at the house. Had a Florida plate. I was pretty confident that they would be a local if they're parked at a house, so I went for Florida. Next round, we had square highway signs combined with license plates that were not distinctly Massachusetts or Connecticut, was leading me to think Maine here. I checked this directional sign. It also had a bunch of towns that were in Maine. So I went for it, and that was State 37. Next one, we had Birch Hill Road here. very far north somewhere. We were in Iron County. So I wasn't too sure. I was thinking Michigan, Wisconsin, Minnesota. So you can see here we found the Lake Superior Circle Tour sign, as well as the sign for US Highway 2, which, as you can see on the map, all pass through the 3 states I had mentioned. So I clicked on Wisconsin for now. Now the next thing to do was to find a state-specific clue, either a road sign or a license plate. I figured that whatever clue I got first was probably going to be the only thing I'd see for a while. So the first car that drove past, I took a look at its license plate, and it was Wisconsin, I believe. Yep. So I ended up just going for it. And luckily it was there. Could have been bad. That might have been the end. And here, I believe this is the round that took forever. So had I gone west here to start instead of going east, I would have made it to some cars passing by us with a license plate. But I went east. I didn't check that red pickup truck that zoomed past us there. So after that one, unfortunately, I don't think there were any cars going the opposite direction to us. So I was kind of worried. I could see water down there, some sort of reservoir, so I kept on heading towards it in the hopes that we would eventually end up at a junction or a town towards the bottom of the valley. So I kept on moving in hopes that I'd come across something, but this road was just absolutely abandoned. Nobody here for miles. So I just kept going. And I think once I made it to the bottom of the reservoir, I kind of just figured there's probably not going to be anything here, so I went back to the start, turned around. We passed a sign here for Whitetail Bay Recreation Area. Never heard of that, no clue where that is. On that sign, I figured was going to be the same thing. So things were not looking great as we went past the water there. And I don't remember at which point I turned around. It's coming up, though, for sure. This was a very unfortunate round. If I had just gone the other way to start, would have checked the car license plate and would have gone with it and would have had a sub 20-minute time. So here we go, going west this time. I tried to see that car that was passing us, but it zoomed off way too fast, which was too bad. So I kept on going, and then you can see there is a car that went past us. Checked the plate. It looked a lot like North Dakota. I was more confident on that one. I wanted to try and check for more cars, but you're going to see here that the round kind of forced my hand. It put us into Gen 1 coverage, so either way I went, I was screwed. The only clue I had was the plate, and it was North Dakota. Round 40 here, we're on the US 84, with a nice mileage sign pointing us out to Las Vegas and Santa Fe, which are in New Mexico there. And that's round 40. So we've got 10 more states to go. The time is 17:12. So the final 10 rounds actually went pretty fast, thankfully. Sub 20 was pretty much out of the question at this point, but it could have been possible. It definitely could have happened. This time we had a state-specific interstate number. I-16 is exclusively found in the state of Georgia, which was fantastic to find. I was a little scared it was going to be across the river in South Carolina, but thankfully it was just straight up Savannah. We ended up in another city here. License plates all looked Illinois, so I clicked there to start. Wanted to be very safe here, of course, so close to the end of the run. Checked the state building, and it was state of Illinois. That's 42. 43rd round, checked on the license plates. I really was not sure what they were, so I tried to leave the residential area and make it to some other stuff. Oh, I just saw there was a state flag there. That is unfortunate. If I had seen that, would have solved this much faster. But funnily enough, I think I did solve this round with the same state flag, just from a different vantage point. And there's Colorado. Actually might have been a different one. I'm not sure. Either way, that's very interesting. Could have saved some seconds there had I seen the first one. This time we had a bunch of Oklahoma plates. I wasn't too convinced because I am notorious for confusing Oklahoma and Indiana plates. So I left the residential area, went into downtown of this farming community, looking for some recognizable stuff. And I think eventually I found the town name, which thankfully I had heard of. I think anyway. Those street signs might have had something. I didn't think to check them, but that's all good. And then we passed something called the Ponca Playhouse, which is a city in northern Oklahoma there, so I was happy going for it. And then 45th round here, we had Watertown, and it said South Dakota right there. I completely missed that. Wow. It's funny how you go back and look at things and you notice other clues. But the license plates were also South Dakota there, so thankfully only lost a few seconds. But you can see how there's all these little details that, if I'd just done a little differently, could have had a sub 20 or even crazier. But that just proves that this speedrun has a ways to go in time improvement. There we had lots of Connecticut plates. Round 47, getting down to the end, I was a little concerned about this one because it was, again, out in the west, sort of plains, Rockies area. I headed toward the rest area, hoping we'd either find some license plates. The plates didn't help, but we found a Adopt a Highway sign, which was Montana's. So that was really reassuring. 3 more rounds to go here. I was very nervous I was going to screw something up. We had one Alabama plate there. Clicked on it to start. I wanted to find one more car to confirm the state. I checked on this little sedan, and it also had Alabama. So that's number 48. 49 here. Luckily, we had a state highway sign right there for Vermont, so I just went for it. It got blurred out there from that vantage point, but you might have seen it fly past there before. And the final round here. I definitely wanted to take my time and make 100% sure I wasn't going to screw this up, so I just followed this road to the end, to this junction, where we thankfully had some state highway numbers for Arizona. And with that, that is state number 50, concluding this 50-state speedrun attempt, and with a final time of 20:52. There's obviously still room for improvement, but the 50-state speedrun is getting down to some crazy times. I'm really excited to keep attempting this format, keep improving my skills, but I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys later with some more GeoGuessr content in the future.